First question is to Ms. Boyd specifically, or also to anyone else on the panel that feels qualified to answer. What are the major challenges to integrating emerging Internet of Things technologies into our 911 systems? Do you think that the current and emerging standards will support the types of technologies and volumes of data that are being anticipated? I know that, for example, technologies like Nest Home Protect, while the device will notify the consumer of an accident, it's still up to the consumer to call 911. How do you see this dynamic evolving, and do you anticipate next-gen 911 systems being able to accommodate these technologies?
Yes, sir. Mr. Doyle, the IP infrastructure in a next-gen environment allows the technologies that you've just mentioned to be able to come into the 911 network or into the Public Safety Communications Center. Today, in that analog world, it's very limited, just a telephone number and an address, basically. When you have a collision, crash notification data, that can all come in through the network in secure and also manageable ways so that the communication centers are not overwhelmed with the amount of data. That is a concern you might hear from public safety is, how do I manage all this additional information? It will be basically parsed, and perhaps the street doesn't need that information right now as first responders, but yet it's available to perhaps investigators that need it later. So an IP infrastructure really allows, in a secure, protected, private network environment, the transmission of alarm system information, crash notification data, personal medical information. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the. Is anyone else want to add to that, Mr. Fogarty?
I'll jump in here just to say that. That's all right. I'll jump in just to say that the Internet of Things is something that for a long time has generated a lot of angst in public safety. We're worried about, do we really want every smoke detector out there able to call 911? And I think historically the answer would have been no, simply because the only thing it could do was detect whether two wires had crossed or a beam of light had been broken or something like that. Today, though, we're getting to the point where sensors don't work on a one-off basis. We're getting to the point where you can have a collection of sensors in a house or an apartment that notice with high confidence that there's a fire. If the sprinkler water is flowing, if you see a heat flare, if there's smoke detected, and so on, you put all those things together and you can come to the conclusion that, yeah, there might really be a fire there. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done on that, but we absolutely believe that in the future we'll have that ability to take in IoT alerts like that and process them intelligently. We have to make sure that we do that so that the PSAPs are not overwhelmed, as Mary said. We've got to bring in those new automation tools into public safety as well. NG911 allows us to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Ritter, I'm sorry, Mr. Sauter,